2 minutes till broadcast. One minute till broadcast.
What's up, guys? Welcome into it. Hey, happy Monday, man. It is the pre-Christmas Monday. Who's excited about that, man? That's pretty awesome. We are just days away. Today, tomorrow, our last live shows of this week. Until next week. We'll have a couple live shows next week before the New Year celebration as well. So let's have some fun today. Let's do our thing. Get you set for the holiday spirit. We'll keep it somewhat lighthearted, although there is plenty to talk about. So that being said, like it out, share it out, leave that comment, break the algorithm, share out the social media. Like the social media pages, man. We're getting some traction on there, which is really, really cool. So let's have some fun today for a Monday, setting that tone. Hang tight.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Broadcasting from the heart of the nation, the next generation in conservative talk radio. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Oh, yes, it is. What is up, my friends? Hang on here. There we go. Welcome into it. It is a Monday, man. We are ready to rock and roll. It's here. We're officially into holiday season. I know you probably traveled throughout the weekend. If you are out and about throughout the country, traveling to the family and friends, then Merry Christmas to you. Happy New Year. And if you need some listening content while you're out on the road doing your thing, then this is the perfect place for it. Welcome into the show. It's a Monday. I'm Andy Hooser, broadcasting out of the heart of the nation in Wichita, Kansas, and our flagship radio station. But we are all over the country. So many great radio affiliates all over the country doing our thing.
Do it live.
There we are, like we do every single day. Sorry, I am my computer with the video feed that does not have a video feed, but we do have a graphic up, is running slow. It doesn't want to work either. It's the holiday mode, man. We are officially in that, and there is plenty to talk about today. We have some news. Apparently, the court's not happy that Donald Trump is letting federal employees have a couple days extra off by considering what the federal holiday is. They don't like that. It's so weird, man. We are truly at a point where anything Donald Trump does, they will do the opposite, whether it's good or bad. Barack Obama did the exact same thing. Depending on what day that Christmas and the holiday falls on, then you can make an additional holiday, shut down the government. That's very scary for them. I know. They get very triggered at the fact that there's not federal employees and bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. working all the time. They barely make it through the weekends when federal employees take time off for the weekend, and through any time that they're not working 9 to 5 or their hour lunch break, and things might slow down. Democrats get very angry and very tense and very on edge, walking on eggshells, because they think the government might actually shut down and that people might die in the streets unless the bureaucrats and the agencies are there.
We're all gonna die because of you!
Yeah, kind of funny. So there is that. We are getting some pushback, which I find absolutely hilarious. All right, Stephen Lloyd will be on the program, bottom of the hour. He's with Reach United. We're going to chat about the move from the Trump administration last week on the demonization of fentanyl and declaring it a weapon of mass destruction here in the United States. What does that mean? As we battle homelessness, we battle mental health issues, we battle addiction problems, and that's what his nonprofit organization of Reach United does. So we'll chat about all those implications as well. Hope everybody had a great weekend. We were at Mrs. Voice of Reason is back. She has officially relaunched, essentially, her Hooser Health. For those that don't know, she had some health issues earlier this year. very scary stent and was in the hospital, was in the ICU for about a week for those that don't know her backstory, she has lupus that led to a kidney stone. The kidney stone was too big to pass. It led to sepsis because all the infection was backing up into her kidneys and her bladder and everything else. So it was a bad ordeal. And earlier, I want to say in June, this happened. May, June is when she fell ill, and she has been in slow recovery. She is about back to normal, which is really awesome. And this past weekend was her very first fair with Hooser Health. And if you don't know what Hooser Health is, it's her business, not mine, it's hers, of her holistic medicine, alternative remedies, and ways that she can help with kind of the alternatives to the big pharmaceutical industry. So there was a holiday fair in the city of Wichita. Went to that all day on Saturday and Sunday. It was actually a winter solstice festival, which was kind of neat. So if you celebrate that, cool. If not, then whatever. But we went there. Very popular, very successful. And now, for those that are trying to find her website, I want to warn you that we are relaunching her website. It is down right now because we're just revamping the entire thing. So it's exciting. And this is a way for me to start off 2026. There's a lot of really cool stuff going on for the new year with this radio show, with what we're doing, partners coming on the program, which will be in the next few weeks. Get ready for those. And then, of course, with what she's doing on her business side and relaunching the website, relaunching her business, and getting back active again. So that was a lot of really exciting. It was a lot of fun, really great weekend. In between all of that, I did see the bit of the America Fest, or AmFest 2025 with Turning Point USA. And I got to admit, man, that was...
What's trending today?
If you want to talk about the internal bickering among the Republican Party and the MAGA movement, we saw the Civil War turn public, and it was really unfortunate. Now, that's not to say there was a lot of really great content, a lot of really great speakers there at AmFest with Turning Point USA. Erica Kirk did an amazing job. She was able to hold it all there. But I always relate the Republican Party to kind of that Italian family. And if you're part of an Italian family or you've been around an Italian family, you know what I'm talking about. I have a lot of my closest friends that were Italian, and you know it. They bicker, they yell at each other, smack each other on the back of the head at the dinner table. But if you mess with the family from being outside of the family and mess with somebody, then you're messing with the entire family. And that's the relation that I've always tried to relate to with the Republican Party, especially with the primary debates, or primary elections versus general elections, is that a lot of times, both at a state level, at local levels across the nation, at a nationwide level, the Republican Party does a really good job of, we'll say, challenging views and sparring with each other in a primary. Looking for that presidential nomination, looking for the governor's nomination, looking for a Senate nomination, whatever it is. We do a very good job of challenging each other on our ideas, balancing each other out, and having different views and having independent, wicked, wild thought. That's what we're good at, and we should applaud ourselves for that, right? We should be very happy about that. The problem that we have, though, that I've noticed within the Republican Party, and this is coming from an outsider looking in as a radio host and as an official for the state Republican Party here in Kansas, is that what we do terrible at is that after that process is done, to realize that we're all still on the same team. And while we may have different views about where we need to go, kind of, sort of, we're generally still moving in the same direction. And we have a lot of Republicans that are the purists that when their candidate may lose, then they say, well, the other guy or gal is just as bad as a Democrat, so I'd rather just vote for a Democrat and have them have the poor record. I don't want to have a moderate Republican in there. I don't want to have some radical in there that's going to make us look bad, or I don't want to fill in the blank. We always have these purists. That's the other side's always better off now because they're just as bad, so we'd rather just have them in there. That's not how we work. We're a wide umbrella Republican Party. We have many different views. To relate this to what's going on, and you know the drama between Candace Owens and Turning Point USA, now apparently Ben Shapiro that took shots at Candace Owens during the event, and then we had Tucker Carlson, we had Candace Owens respond, we had Steve Bannon respond. We now have showcased, outside of our internal family drama around the dinner table, we've now showcased it to the world that we had this internal civil war going on, and it's really unfortunate. Now, I'm going to be the first to say, I like Ben Shapiro. I used to like Candace Owens. She hasn't said anything of substance a whole lot lately, which is why we've been critical of her on this program. I like Turning Point USA and Erica Kirk. I like Tucker Carlson. I like Steve Bannon. I like them all. Why? Because do I agree with all of them 100% of the time? No! Are you supposed to agree with all of them 100% of the time? No! And that's okay. But we saw the bickering of either you side with what I believe in or else you're not a purist of the MAGA movement. And it was really unfortunate. Ben Shapiro, this was what caused the drama on AmFest, I believe, day one of the event?
If Candace Owens decides to spend every day since the murder of Charlie Kirk if Candace Owens decides to spend every day since the murder of Charlie Kirk casting aspersions at TPUSA and the people who work here, who worked with Charlie every single day, his best friends, to cast aspersions at Mikey McCoy and Andrew Colvin and Blake Neff and Tyler Boyer, and yes, at Erica Kirk, and to imply or outright claim complicity in a cover-up over Charlie's murder, to spew absolutely baseless trash implicating everyone from French intelligence to Mossad to members of TPUSA in Charlie's murder or a cover-up in that murder, then we, as people with a microphone, have a moral obligation to call that out by name.
All right, so that's what he mentioned about Candace Owens, and it caused an uproar. Candace Owens responding, not very happy about that, and a lot of other people did as well. Steve Bannon went after him for not being a purist MAGA individual and supporting the greater Israel is what he's calling it, with the expansion of the Israeli and Jewish nation, and all of this came to light. Really unfortunate. Here's the thing. I'm an eternal optimist. I always say, you know what, purge it out now because we have midterm elections next year, so get it out of your system and let's start working together later on. But this really deepens with the issue that I've been trying to scream about here is personality over policy. We have a lot of influencers on the conservative side. A lot of different talk show hosts, myself included, although obviously not invited to AmFest, not at that kind of caliber, but just watching what they're doing. We have a lot of talk show hosts. We have a lot of podcasters. We have a lot of influencers that turned elected official. We have a lot of elected officials with some very strong opinions. We have a lot of different personality. And again, that's good because we are different from the Democrat Party with the DNC that gets their marching orders that say this is the platform that we stand on. This is the talking point you're going to do. And then you got the wannabe influencers out there like AOC and like Adam Schiff and these others that literally just regurgitate those same talking points verbatim while they're on there trying to relate to the young generation. And it just doesn't work. It doesn't do anything at all. That's why they're not relatable to the younger generation who's looking for some personality. We have a lot of personality on our side. And that's good because you can get, as a listener, as a connoisseur of this content, you can get all different plethoras of different opinions and ideas and perspectives on the issues. And then you can take what you want to make it fit. But when they start bickering and fighting, then they've lost the whole purpose of what we're supposed to be doing, which is trying to win over people to vote and trying to win people over with our ideas. And when it comes to my view is more important than yours and mine is truthful and yours are not, and so on and so forth, then that's when we start seeing the movement fall apart because then it's all about them and not about the movement in general. Candace Owens a little upset after that.
Truly, Ben Shapiro, you and the midget horse that you rode in on.
I mean, well, she's just angry because she got called out because she's got no substance. But Steve Bannon did speak at AmFest this weekend on day 2 and said this.
Now, Benji Shapiro sat up here last night, and he was all, it's all about the truth. Ben, I've known you a long time, brother. You can't handle the truth. Let's face it, Ben Shapiro is the farthest thing from MAGA. Let's be blunt. He is a hardcore never-Trumper. He's a hardcore never-Trumper. In the spring of 16, he tried to upend Breitbart. He walked off the job, made a big deal about some incident in Mar-a-Lago with Corey Lewandowski. He tried to turn it to Ted Cruz from Donald Trump because he hated Donald Trump.
All right, so again, that was a long time ago. I don't know what he's referencing there, but hey, you know what? This is, again, the purity test. You're not good enough of a strong MAGA supporter. You're not conservative enough. Ben Shapiro is a very conservative individual. And you may not agree with him on a stance on Israel. You may not agree with him on a stance on maybe some of the policy that he critiques or criticizes about Donald Trump. That's okay. He's still a conservative. He's a large influencer. He runs and owns the Daily Wire. He hired a lot of conservative pundits that included Candace Owens back in the day. That included Tommy Lahren back in the day, I believe, right? Wasn't she with Daily Wire for a while? I don't remember. There's so many networks out there. But look, this is the infighting that, sure, I guess we can have internally. But we don't need to be publicizing this to the rest of the world to show how weak that we may be inside by bickering amongst each other. But again, Eternal Optimist here, take what you will. Take what they have to say, take what I have to say. Listen to us, enjoy the entertainment, make your own opinions based on what we try to present, what we try to offer, and let's get ready for midterm elections, because personality over policy is not going to win us. It's the policy that's going to win. Vice President J.D. Vance did speak at AmFest this weekend and brought down the House, and he did it in such a beautiful fashion that he said we're not going to give the attention to the ones that may be kind of the wild outliers out there, and we're going to focus on the wins. We're going to focus on the policy. We're going to focus on what needs to be done so that way we can win over new voters instead of just the inner circle and the echo chamber that we so often find ourselves in, and why Republicans traditionally, when they do get power and they do get the majority, seem to always slip to the wayside and start falling apart, and that's why we always are trying to fight that upward battle. We have a lot more to do and a lot of other big wins we have to work on. Let's focus on those. Let's not focus on the infighting. And then you can decide who you like or dislike or trust or distrust. Doesn't really matter. Overall, though, it was a great event. I just wish I wouldn't have seen some of that stuff. Lots more coming up for a Monday. Stay here.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
When America builds, the world follows. Our energy powered the 20th century. We've set the standard for generations, and we never waited for permission. But now, we're being held back. Outdated rules, endless delays. Without permitting reform, Washington's red tape is slowing us down while other nations race ahead. It doesn't have to be this way. We can clear the way for energy that's affordable, reliable, and built right here. Because what's built here is felt here. Lower costs, more jobs, stronger communities. That's what permitting reform makes possible. Energy didn't just shape our country, it powered the American dream. And with our innovation, we can lead the 21st century. Congress has a choice. Build America's energy future or risk falling behind. Tell Congress, pass permitting reform now.
Miss any part of the show? Well, don't worry. Now's your chance to go find the podcast and listen to as much of the Voice of Reason as you'd like. As the show continues to grow all across the nation with great radio affiliates, we also continue to grow as one of the top conservative podcasts, ranked 5th on the MillionPodcast.com Best 50 Conservative Leadership Podcasts in the nation, and number 1 on FeedSpot.com's 30 Best Conservative Talk Shows in the country. The show continues to grow each and every day. Just find us on any of your favorite podcasting sites at The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser. Hey, did you know that you can have multiple different networks on one single smartphone? Well, with Patriot Mobile, you can. It's time for you to sign up for the Patriot Mobile primary phone plan with plans as low as $15 a month, where you can have 2 numbers and 2 networks on one single phone. And right now, if you sign up using the promo code REASON, you can get an entire month absolutely free. It's the Patriot Mobile One plan. 1 phone, 2 numbers, and 2 networks. And it's all at patriotmobile.com/reason. Again, patriotmobile.com, and use the promo code REASON.
What fuels the freedom to dream bigger? How did 2 guys in a cramped California garage reimagine the phone and put the power of the universe at our fingertips? At Americans for Prosperity, we believe greatness can happen anywhere. We just need freedom and the opportunity to make it real. But today, with a rigid system stifling progress, limiting creativity, and holding us back. That's why at AFP, we offer solutions that tackle the most critical challenges facing our country, so there's nothing standing in the way of America's next breakthrough. Because what we build today doesn't just shape the future, it defines it. How will you be defined? Take your first step today with Americans for Prosperity.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US-based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever, every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Switch today and get 1 month of service absolutely free by going to patriotmobile.com/reason.
When reason meets radio. This is the voice of reason with Andy Hooser.
If you truly come to believe that nothing in your life is in your control, you can't even take control of your own life, and then you fail. And you must not fail. The United States is still the greatest country in the history of planet Earth. In this country, you can make of yourself what you will, and if there are true obstacles standing in your way, we can all work together to remove them. That, by the way, is the essence of conservatism, that we live in a world created by God with a logic and a rationale, that we as human beings were created in God's image, as it says in the book of Genesis, with creative capacity and the power to choose, and that in a free country, our destiny is in our hands, and that we all have a duty to make the most of that historic opportunity.
I love that opportunity. I don't know why that we have to go so nasty with each other. Ben Shapiro, I think, outside of that comment that fired everybody up, I think it was a really great speech. I really enjoyed that. So, yeah, AmFest 2025 definitely causing some drama. Can we find the way to get the I know I'm getting messages during the break. I get it. I know I sound like the hippie of the Republican Party. Can't we all just get along, man? But seriously, I don't care that we have differing opinions on certain issues. I don't care that we have slightly different views on policy issues. At the end of the day, we want Republicans to win elections. We want to stand on conservative principles, and that's why we don't decide on every particular policy. Here's a great example. Living in Kansas, and I've been a part of this for a while, and now being part of the state leadership in Kansas, that there's always a conversation about the platform, the platform of the Kansas Republican Party. What's the platform look like? And we do these tours around the state, and we talk to people. What should the platform look like? What should we include? What should we take out? What's the view of where the stance of the Republican Party is? And there's always a lot of individuals that say, there's this one particular issue that's this fringe kind of wild issue, and I want the Republican Party to make a clear statement in the platform about where we stand on this particular issue. And it's not the purpose of it. It's not the role of what we're supposed to be doing. The role is the value, the ideology, and the principles of what we stand on, which is, to me, the three pillars of conservatism. Right to life, right to liberty, right to private property. That's it, period. That should be the Republican platform. We believe in the right to life, private property, and liberty. That's it. As long as you're not infringing on taking someone else's life, you don't take someone else's liberties, and you don't take someone else's private property, then you can do whatever the hell you want to. Federal government, get out of our way and let us live our life. That should be right there, a one-page Republican Party platform. Boom, end of story. That's it. And that's what we should be doing with different conventions like this. We believe in conservative principles, limited government, individual sovereignty, the right to life, so on and so forth. We don't need these particular statements on every single particular issue, because that's when it gets cluttered and we start getting this bickering like this, which is really unfortunate. When we talk policy, we win. Vice President J.D. Vance brought down the House on AmFest and said this.
December marks 7 months straight of zero releases at the southern border. More than 2.5 million illegal immigrants have left the United States, the first time in over 50 years that we have had negative net migration, and it's just the start. When you restore sanity at the border, it shows up everywhere else. Rent prices are dropping 4 months in a row, and more native-born Americans are working than ever before. Kamala Harris opened the border and destroyed the economy. The Trump administration gave you net negative migration and much more job creation.
Boom. Those are big wins, and that was a huge success for Vice President J.D. Vance to bring that up. And by the way, news that we're seeing today, according to Breitbart, with our headline of the day.
What's trending today
is the fact that Donald Trump right now, his approval rating back up, according to Breitbart News, back up over 50%, as we heard just a week or two ago that it was down at like 30%. I don't know where they got those poll numbers. I don't know how accurate those actually were, but according to the latest poll numbers now, they're back up to 50%. What changed? Well, really nothing other than the narrative that was coming out. And Donald Trump realized his poll numbers were down, held a statement addressed to the nation, talked about the wins and successes, got rid of the clutter and the drama, got rid of the bickering, talked about what we did and what we're going to do for 2026. People saw it and they're like, yeah, that makes sense. And his poll numbers went back up. What a shocker, focusing on wins.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left finds new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back. And that's where we can help. Head to our website at HooserReason.com. There you can find our latest blog discussing topical issues of the day. Let us know your thoughts on current events with different surveys and chat rooms. And keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Plus, when you head to the website, you can always get great deals and different offers from all of our great radio partners. Finally, if you want more of the show, you can find our podcasts with all of our great episodes and your favorite guests. And make sure to check out the latest Voice of Reason infomercials and maybe some other special content. And it's all because of you being part of the Hoosier-holic family. Let's continue to fight for conservative common sense principles together by going to HooserReason.com. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Mid-America Network News Business Report. I'm Andy Hooser. Wrapping trading up for a Monday today. Shortened week with the holiday coming up on Thursdays. We did see some green numbers at the end today. The Dow Jones finishing 227 points in the green at 48,362. The S&P was up by 43 points at 6878. The Nasdaq growing 121. News out of the gold and silver markets as we saw some record high numbers there today as well.
Gold and silver prices surged to record highs, continuing strong rallies in 2025, in which gold has risen about 70% and silver has more than doubled in value. The precious metals have gained favor on global economic concerns, in particular due to growing fiscal deficits in the U.S., Europe, and in China and Japan.
Gold wrap up today $91 in the green at $44.78. Silver was up $1.42 at $68.91 an ounce. In the energy market, oil was up $1.41 at $57.93 a barrel. Mid-America Network News Business Report.
This holiday season, give a gift that sparkles without breaking the bank. At Jewelry Savers, our biggest event of the year is here. Enjoy up to 75% off stunning diamonds, elegant gold, designer watches, and the perfect gifts for everyone on your list. Whether you're popping the question, surprising someone special, or treating yourself, you'll save big on pieces that shine brighter than ever. But hurry, these holiday deals won't last long. Visit Jewelry Savers outside Cabela's parking lot. We don't want $1 million, just a million friends.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
The holidays are officially here. The tree's decorated, the stockings hung with care, the family and friends coming to town, and Santa's on the way. What could be better? And while you're celebrating your holiday, keep it right here on Wichita's Big Talker KQAM for 36 hours of nonstop Christmas music. Enjoy everything from your favorite classics to contemporary songs of today. Join us Christmas Eve starting at noon for your 36 hours of nonstop Christmas music right here on Wichita's Big Talker KQAM.
Truth, reason, and common sense. This is the voice of reason with Andy Hooser.
Why, yes, it is. What is up, my friends? Welcome back into it. It is a Monday. It is your Christmas, pre-Christmas Monday. We're counting down the days, man. Officially the holiday season. So Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Solstice, Happy Yule, whatever you like to celebrate. Does not really matter, but it is the season to enjoy the festivities, enjoy the family and friends, enjoy that peace and quiet, and get ready to launch a wild 2026 right around the corner. Midterm elections and crazy policies, so much more. It's going to be a blast. I want to tell you about my friends over at Americans for Prosperity. All at the same time, we are just a week or so away from the kickoff of the 250th birthday of this nation.
That's awesome.
Yeah. President Donald Trump saying that he's got an entire year of festivities lined up for the country, and that's going to be awesome. Our friends at AFP do as well. I want you to go to the website, takeonesmallstep.com. Takeonesmallstep.com. You can get signed up. It is the education that you're going to want for the year of the 250th birthday, teaching about the greatness of this nation, the average American rising to the challenges of their time throughout the ages of American history and making America what it is today. And that's the perfect way to celebrate how great you and I, the average American, is and how we've been able to craft this nation. Go to takeonesmallstep.com with our friends over at Americans for Prosperity. All right, let's go to our phones here, shall we?
What's trending today?
As you know, last week there was a big announcement from the Trump, 2 big announcements from the Trump administration, really. One of them that was announcing that fentanyl is now considered a weapon of mass destruction here in the United States with the ongoing, I would say, conflict against Venezuela, bombing the boats coming in that have been trying to bring in the fentanyl. And for some reason, people are, they're angry about that. I don't understand why. That's a little bit strange, but that's a point of conversation as we talk about the mental health crises. We talk about addiction problems. We talk about homelessness that's been increasing over the past few years all over the country. Even in Wichita, where our flagship radio station is here in Wichita, Kansas, we've seen an increase in homelessness, addiction, and beyond. What do we do about this, and how do we move forward when it comes to issues like public health safety? To talk about some of that and more, really happy to have on. He is the chair of Reach United. Excited to have him back on, Mr. Stephen Lloyd. Steve, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, Andy. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you. What a wild time, and I'm so glad we're focusing on this now because I got to admit, I am really optimistic about 2026 on how we can start really, truly addressing the homeless problem, the addiction problem, the mental health problem. We've talked about it for years, and the solution's always, we'll create a 10-year program through government agencies and new taxpayer money for a new program. That hasn't really done a whole lot, has it?
No, it's perpetuated, and you know, it's kind of the system that's set up, Andy. You know, I spent my money this year, so give me 5% more next year, and really that doesn't matter. What matters are outcome, right? And you know what President Trump did last week, I think is a great start to that. You know, you have to stop the illegal flow of drugs into our country. They're killing our citizens. They're killing Americans, and I don't know how you could be against that. You know, is it the only thing that needs to be done? You and I both know the answer to that is no. but it is certainly a great start.
Yeah, it is a really great start. What does this mean? Are we already seeing, because of the bombings that we're seeing from the boats coming to Venezuela, the cutting down of the traffic illegally out of the Mexican border, are we already seeing, do you think, a decrease in fentanyl that's on the streets right now across the country?
Well, I postulated that since we, tightened up the borders, that we've seen, I think that we've already seen results of that. If you look at our overdose death rate in the United States, year over year, 25 over 24, it's down dramatically. One of the states I work a ton in is West Virginia, and West Virginia, which is the worst hit state, it's down about a little over 40% year over year.
Wow.
And so I think there's a lot that has to do with stopping that illegal flow. That is one part of it. As you know, this is a supply and demand issue, and I've always said as long as there is a demand, there will be a supply.
Yes.
Right? I mean, that's just economics, call it the iron will of the market, if you will. But I think we've already seen the results, starting to see the results of that. The fentanyl that has come into our country has been less potent, fewer people dying from it. Of course, we blanketed the country with overdose reversal drugs, which is a good thing. It's a good thing to keep people alive. I am a life guy, and so I think that we're already starting to see it.
Yeah. It's exciting. You mentioned that the life-saving ones and kind of the reversal here in Wichita, where I'm based out of, they ended up promoting the whole Narcan and having dispensaries around the town. So that way, if you do overdose on fentanyl or have an issue, that you can get some of that Narcan, more of the emergency responders that are carrying it. And I know that's not just Wichita, but around the nation. So you're saying you've already seen the response. That's actually helping a lot of people already.
Absolutely. But, Andy, it's more than that, right? I mean, I believe in keeping people alive. As a physician, which I am, I haven't figured out how to treat dead people. Now, there's people that figured out how to bill for treating dead people, okay?
Yeah.
But I haven't figured out how to treat dead people. And so, the first thing we've got to do is keep people alive. But it's more than that, right? So we start to have to, kind of use leverage to direct people towards help, because that'll be what prevents them from overdosing and dying in the future. So I'm all about blanketing the country with Narcan. I think it's a good thing. There's more drugs out there rather than Narcan, so I just use overdose reversal drugs as kind of a blanket for that. But it's more than that, right? It's about helping them once you get them past that state of where they're going to die. What do you need to do to prevent this from happening in the future? Right. And I think that's where our holes are right now, and I think there's a lot of things that we can do to help that.
It's a really great point. So let's talk about what you had mentioned, the deeper-rooted cause issue here. We can't spend more money and just create a new program. We can't just put a Band-Aid on the problem. We have to get down to the root cause, which is the demand for a market where there's always going to be a supply for a demand if there is one. How do we get rid of a demand? How do we get rid of that addiction that people want where they constantly are looking for that type of drug?
Well, and so much of this is generational, right? I teach addiction as a slot machine, right? The 3 7s come down on the pay line. That's when the money comes out the bottom. So it's genetics, trauma, and opportunity. So the opportunity part we're addressing, right? We're shoring up the borders. We're trying to stop the illegal flow of powerful fentanyl into our country and taking aggressive measures to do that. So we're addressing a lot of the things with the third 7. The first 7 is genetics. Not a whole lot you can do about sperm and egg stuff, right? I mean, that's DNA.
Yeah.
But there are some things actually with eugenics that we could talk about at some other time. But really, it's about addressing those things that are driving people's use right now, which is mainly trauma issues and untreated mental illness. I mean, if you go to any big city in this country and you look at the homeless population, what percentage of those folks are struggling from a mental health standpoint and a substance use standpoint? I mean, it's got to be north of 70-80%. I mean,
right.
Just using your eyeballs and common sense, as you said. So when we start to address those, we're never going to get it to zero. You and I both know that. I mean, man has been mood altering since we were placed. Right? I mean, it's just a fact.
Yeah.
But there's some things that we can do to help people, because I had this issue myself 21 years ago as a young doctor, and I got world-class help. It changed who I am as a physician. It changed who I am as a dad, as a granddad, as a husband. And, it's about having those resources for quality help. I had a leg up because I already had an MD degree hanging on the wall.
Sure. It's a really great point. You guys, obviously, at Reach United, which you can find online, by the way, at thereachteam.com, thereachteam.com, you talk about trying to help treating addiction in the country. What is the process if you see someone that's addicted to a problem, and let's say the homelessness, because you're right, there's an argument right now that, well, you can't take them because they don't want to be taken to be treated. They want to be there. They don't want the help that they actually need, which, if you're in a mind-altered state, you don't know what you want at that time. So I don't understand why there's a continued argument about let's just leave them in filth under the bridge because that's where they want to be and they don't want to go get help. We need to force them to go get the help. How do you make that problem happen and go away?
Well, I'm a huge fan of the criminal justice system, and I get beat up for this all the time, but you use leverage. Andy, what happens in addiction is you lose access to the frontal lobe of your brain, all right? And if you think about it, the frontal lobe of your brain has two big responsibilities, insight and judgment. So if you don't care anything about insight or judgment, you don't need a frontal lobe. but we get through our days because we have insight and judgment. We're able to make informed decisions at the risk and benefits of every decision that we make because we have a functioning frontal lobe, and we can balance the pleasurable reward against the consequence and then pick the one with the most reward and the least consequence.
Sure.
Basically, that's what our brain does every single day. People in addiction don't have access to that frontal lobe, and the only thing that they can see is their survival at that moment, which is dependent upon being able to obtain that substance. I've been right there. I know what that feels like. A lot of these folks already have issues with the legal system. I'm a proponent of using that leverage of the legal system to help people into treatment and keep them there. There's only one positive predictor of long-term outcomes in addiction treatment, Andy, and that's time engaged in the program. That's it, right? And so if we could use that leverage to hold people in the system, you'll be amazed at how many of them get better. Now, will we be 100%? No, but we're not 100% in any disease I can think of.
Right.
When I got help 21 years ago, I did not go to get better, Andy. I went to save my medical license. That's why I went.
Sure.
Right? They used the leverage to keep me in there because my decision-making wasn't where it needed to be, even though I had an MD degree hanging on the wall. And what I've got for the last 21 years, I can't even begin to tell you what that's meant in my life and, more importantly, my family's life.
Interesting. So is there an aha moment then for yourself or for others that go through this program, that aha moment of, oh, now I understand why I'm doing what I'm doing here, and now I understand why I wasn't thinking clearly, and now I can actually start thinking with a clear head and actually making these proper decisions for myself again?
Yes, there was. And you know, when you see that, it becomes something that's not a moral failing, but something that I can actually make choices and overcome. And so it's very empowering whenever you learn that, hey, I don't have to keep living like this. My decision-making is not what it needs to be. I'm under the influence of this thing out here that I think I'll have to have or I will die, which is a bad place to be.
Yeah.
Right? And so when you start to learn about addiction, it's like a diabetic. A diabetic can eat chocolate cake all they want, you know, until they figure out they got diabetes. Then they have the power to do something about that. Right? Addiction is the same way, but most of the time, the person, when they're acutely intoxicated, acutely using, they can't see that. We have to see it for them.
Yeah.
And I promise you, I take a beating on this.
I don't know why either, because that would make so much sense. It's a logical sense on why we would actually want to go down this road, and obviously it's working when we can see the results of actually trying to force people into making that realization happen, that awakening happen, and get that aha moment. We're talking with Stephen Lloyd, Reach United, which you can find thereachteam.com, thereachteam.com. Stephen, we got to take a hard break. Can you stick over one more segment with us?
Oh, you bet, man.
Awesome.
I love it.
I love it. Yeah, you bet. I want to continue on this conversation, and I want to pick your brain on the announcement from the Trump administration as well, reclassifying marijuana from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3 for medical purposes. As an MD and someone treating addiction, is that a good idea, bad idea? Does that actually lead as the gateway drug, as so many claim? And are there actual medical benefits that we should be looking into when it comes to the marijuana industry? Both of them happening within the week. It's a wild time as we continue to look at 2026 and the outlook of what we may see as a nation. Lots more to get to. Back after this for a Monday on The Voice of Reason.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Big government is broken. Every year, politicians fail to pass a budget as the deficit continues to grow. Every month, unelected bureaucrats pile on rules no one voted for, strangling our economy. And every day, D.C.'s broken system gets in the way of the American dream. Washington isn't working, and the people pay the price. At Americans for Prosperity, we believe it's time to fix the system. Now, join the movement to make government work.
As you know, I'm always looking for a good snack, but it's hard to find good quality snacks without all the unhealthy additives. But now that problem is over. It's time to enjoy J&S Smoked Snacks. Real cuts of beef, real wood smoke, and real flavor that's crafted in small batches to keep every bag fresh. I promise you'll be addicted. And with numerous different flavors, you'll never get enough. This is not your average gas station jerky. It's J&S Smoked Snacks. Find them online at jssmokedsnacks.com and tell them I sent you.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US-based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever, every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Switch today and get 1 month of service absolutely free by going to patriotmobile.com/reason.
What fuels the freedom to dream bigger? Our country's greatest breakthroughs were born from bold ideas and the ability to take one small step forward. At Americans for Prosperity, freedom and opportunity find their defenders. Because our country's next giant leap is just around the corner. Are you ready to step up?
Hey, the live show may be almost over today, but it doesn't have to be for you. As always, enjoy the Voice of Reason with our daily podcast by finding the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser on any of your favorite podcasting sites. Just find us, subscribe, have it automatically downloaded, and listen at your convenience whenever you want to bring some more reason into your day. And a lot of people are doing it. Also, you can always find the video of the show, along with articles, additional commentary, and maybe a few sarcastic remarks by following us on our social media. Stay up to date with everything going on with the show, including upcoming guests, breaking news stories, interesting articles, and maybe some memes. Help us in the ongoing battle with censorship and shadow banning from social media by following us on the social media at Hooser Reason on all of our social media sites. For all these social media links, podcast links, contact information, or just general information of the show, go to our website at HooserReason.com. There you can listen live every day, read our latest monthly blog, find our radio affiliate list, or even listen to our latest infomercials and special content. Plus, you can always reach out to the program by sending me a message on social media, emailing us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com, or sending an email through our website at HooserReason.com. Whether it's content on the show, whether it's a guest that you've liked or disliked, or whether you want to disagree with me, and disagreement's always appreciated. While you're there, make sure to sign up for our monthly newsletter. Each month, you'll get the latest update on the show, updates from the Hooser Media Network, and our latest blog discussing topical issues of the day. Finally, if you want to help support the show, become a member of our Patreon site and help us fight for the cause of truth, reason, and common sense every day, and get more of the same by becoming the ultimate Hoosierholic. Get additional interviews that sometimes we don't always get to air on the radio. Hear our special segments or even our infomercials before anyone else, and have a chance to chat with other great Hoosierholics from all over. By becoming a Patreon subscriber, you're not only helping the fight for conservative values, you're helping us get more content and information out through the Hooser Media Network. Find out more information online at HooserReason.com. Lastly, follow and support all of our partners with the show. The Voice of Reason has been growing more and more every year, and it's because of so many great partners helping us get the message out to you. From show partners to local radio affiliates in your area to streaming sites, podcasting sites, and more, we have so many supporters and listeners now than ever before, and we want to thank you. It's time to bring back common sense, and we do it right here every day with the Voice of Reason.
America's safe space for common sense. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
I don't know if he even knows this, but he's given so many people hope that there's a chance to beat the bad guys and to win and to do it with your head held high.
So, what's her name? Nicki Minaj? I don't know who she is. I don't listen to rap. I don't listen to new contemporary music. I just don't. It's so weird that we see these people that once again, you hate Trump, you got the severe TDS, Donald Trump's the worst person on the face of the earth. Then you meet him and everybody's like, he's actually a really nice guy. We actually really like him. Why are we so mean to him? Why did we dehumanize him as bad as we did? Nicki Minaj stood up for him when he was standing up for the Christians that were being persecuted in Africa, speaking at AmFest this past weekend and saying that, hey, you know what? He's been through a lot and he deserves a lot of gratitude. He's given a lot of hope for the American people. And it's not something that I would expect from someone like Nicki Minaj, but hey, all the power to you. Well done. All right. Again, I don't know a single song that she's made though. Got to be honest. We're hanging out with Stephen Lloyd right now. Reach United is the organization. You can find more information online at thereachteam.com. Thereachteam.com. We're talking about ways to battle addiction. So we talked about the fentanyl, the weapons of mass destruction. But Stephen, let's go to the reclassification of marijuana, going from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3. The argument against it is people say, well, it's obviously the gateway drug and worst thing on the face of the earth. Others say, hey, now we can start researching it medically. So as someone who helps people with addiction and as an MD yourself, where do you stand on this? Is this good for us to start learning more about the marijuana industry?
Absolutely it is. And I've seen both sides of this argument. I have no idea really how it got scheduled as a Schedule 1 in the first place. Schedule 1 is no medicinal value, right, and highly addictive. Well, I do think that cannabis is addictive. I don't have any question about that. There's not a withdrawal syndrome, although there is some now with how potent it is.
Sure.
But it has been beneficial for some medical conditions. My problem is, Andy, I don't know how to use it, right, as a physician. If I've got somebody where I think cannabis may be an option for them, say it's a chronic pain patient, a refractory seizure patient, what are the indications, what it's for, and how much do you use? I mean, do I, right now we're deciding in the court of public opinion.
Right.
Right? It's still a Schedule 1, yet it's legal recreationally in a lot of states. And so I don't want anything medicine-wise decided in the court of public opinion. I do not think that's good. Now, am I enamored with the FDA process? No. It's let us down on multiple occasions, and we don't have to point much further than the opioid crisis for that one. But it's the best process that we have, and we can also tighten it up. So I need to know what's it indicated for. Where does it fit in our current treatment for the things that it is indicated for? And then what's the dosing? What's the pharmacokinetics of it? Pharmacokinetics means, from the time it goes in me, how does it get out of me? Right?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And so these are things that we need to know. I see no issue with reclassifying it as a Schedule 3 because it is still scheduled, right? You still have to have a prescription. You still have to have a DEA number in order to write it. So I only think it's good things. I'm glad to see it not Scheduled 1. I want to know more about it. I want to know how it could potentially help patients in our country.
It's a really great point that you bring up. I mean, right now it is so open in the air, and we have obviously the creams, and we have the edibles, and we have, you can smoke it or whatever else. But you're right. I mean, if you are using it for a medicinal purpose, for pain or for whatever, how much do you prescribe? Do you just say, all right, go and get a pain cream and put it on your knee for your knee replacement and see how well it works? Or, how much is there? And then there's and again, I don't know a whole lot about it, of the THC A and A1 and B and C and whatever. There's so many different types that we don't know these things. And the ironic part is people say, well, there's no research to prove that it has any benefits. But it was a Schedule 1. We weren't allowed to research it. So it's kind of it was kind of weird where they were making this argument.
Sure. And I say this jokingly, Andy, but it proves my point. Am I supposed to write, smoke 2 bowls every 4 hours? I mean, how big's the bowl? Right? I'm going back to my college days here for a minute, but, I don't know that.
Yeah.
And these are things that we absolutely have to know. Now, the argument here, and my fear is that I do not trust big pharma.
Yes.
Right? I just don't. And so my fear here is marketing it to kids, because you get into this thing, is it a gateway drug? My dad is 84 years old. He hikes with a bunch of dudes, right? And these guys are all retired professors and airline pilots and everything else. And some of them eat gummies when they go. The truth is, I could care less, right? I don't care. But when you're talking about a developing brain in a child, that is a different ball game altogether. We know the effects of cannabis on them. And remember that frontal lobe I taught you about?
Yep.
We know that cannabis inhibits the growth of that frontal lobe. And just from what I've taught you, you can already see how that would be a problem going forward.
Yeah, exactly. No, you bring up some great points. I love it. I love that we can understand it more, we can start researching it more, and we can utilize it the right way. And like you said, push back against Big Pharma. Don't let them control it and dictate it, because that's always where we start seeing things go wayward. Stephen, it's always great to talk to you, my friend. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to you, brother. We got to get you back on and do it again soon.
Love it. Merry Christmas, Andy. Thanks for having me.
Hey, appreciate it very much. TheReachTeam.com is the website if you want to go check out everything they're doing. We're back at it again tomorrow for a Tuesday. Until then, be your own voice of reason. Be that catalyst for change. We'll see you back on the radio soon. Bye.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You know, when I get off the air every day, the battle for me against limited government, censorship, and even unfactual content is far from over. That's why now I'm so happy to say that the Hooser Media Network is giving you more opportunity to catch the voice of reason along with other great shows and podcasts. It's been a long time in the works, and now you can finally enjoy more great content, services, and topical shows. We're the safe space for alternative talk, information, and ideas that the mainstream media absolutely hates. From holistic and alternative medicine, discussions on religion and spirituality, pure entertainment shows, and of course yours